Well, would you look at here? The Las Vegas Raiders are currently leading the AFC West 2-0. The Chiefs are 1-1. The Chargers are 1-1. Yes, the Broncos are behind them, but who would have thought after week 2 the Raiders would be winning their own division undefeated? I know it's early. I know it's a small sample size, but me including, I think everyone and me including are very surprised by this Raiders start. Not just by the 2 wins, but just how they're doing it, how they're performing, how they're looking legit. Again, me personally is very surprised, and I'm going to be getting into it and talking about, are they serious contenders? Can they keep this up? Not going undefeated, but can they, make a postseason run? Or are they pretenders? Is it some beginner's luck? I'm going to be getting into everything, the breakdown, the matchups, the predictions, everything like I said. But I got to hear from you guys. Based on this point, what's your prediction for the Raiders season? You think they'll finish 13-4, 11-6, 10-7, fall off 7-10, whatever it is? Comment down below, and I'll kind of get my answer at the end. Getting straight into it, like I said, 2-0 at the top of the division. Kudos to them. They took down 2 top dogs in the AFC North. The Cleveland Browns have still yet to play them, but still taking down Baltimore and taking down Pittsburgh. Those are 2 very, very notable wins. They're not playing the Jets and Jaguars week 1 and week 2. They play 2 former playoff teams and 2 possible still playoff teams. Derek Carr has been slinging the ball like an animal. 382 yards this game. I think he had 400 plus last game. 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. If he were to ever make an MVP case, again, it's really early, but if he were to, this is how you kick one off. You take over the AFC West, you be above the Kansas City Chiefs, you have spectacular numbers, you beat tough playoff teams. This is how you do it, despite a couple of factors and injuries. Looking at the Raiders' depth chart, they didn't have Josh Jacobs this game. Their run game wasn't stellar with Kenyon Drake. Obviously, that type of scheme and plan had to change without having Josh Jacobs, and you didn't expect them to run the ball like they would with him, but still, the fact they did well without him. Richie Incognito still yet to come back, yet the offensive line is still holding up given the circumstances of facing a Calais Campbell, Justin Houston, Odafe Way Ravens pass rush, or a TJ Watt Steelers pass rush. They're holding up pretty well. Receiving room, Darren Waller is Darren Waller. Henry Ruggs, I have my question marks about him still. Is he having an impact on the Raiders football team and the game? Yes. But I still believe he's somewhat, in a way, one-dimensional in the fact that he relies on speed and speed only. Now, can he develop? For sure. The cat's still really young. He's still got time to grow, and he's still, like I said, bringing positive impacts to this team, but I still want to see him branch out. Hunter Renfrow, he's looking better and better every game. Bryan Edwards, he still has a high ceiling, but we still need to see more. Specifically on the defense of what I like on this team, Solomon Thomas got 2 sacks last game. Shout out to him. But Denzel Perryman, they traded him for a 6th-round pick with the Carolina Panthers, and each and every game I have watched him have a huge, huge impact, whether it be getting to the tackle, making a tackle, just having pressure, just being in the right spot at the right time, whatever you want to call it luck. He is helping out the Raiders to the nth degree as far as value goes for a 6th-round pick. Mad Max is having his effect. Where's Yannick Ngakoue? He's up in there. The pass rush is there compared to last year. Carl Nassib, Solomon Thomas, like I said, big man, Jonathan Hankins, Littleton, Perryman, and the linebacker core, KJ Wright as well. They are looking like a badass team, I'm not going to lie. Secondary, I still have my question marks. I do think they're still limited by age and youth. Abrams and Morg are still really young, still have time to develop, and Casey Hayward, he might be lacking on speed. So there's, there could be some limitations in some aspects and some points, but overall they've been getting the job done, and this Raiders team is looking good. Looking at all the pros, Derek Carr is on the come up. He's entering that class of top 10 quarterbacks. He could even be further, but we got to see week in, week out if he can keep this up to really give him a higher status than that, at least in my opinion. Josh Jacobs in the run game I think is solid when it is needed and there. Offensive line, like I said, given the circumstances of who they played, pretty good. Receiving core, underrated. Defense, underrated. I like what the Raiders are doing. I've roasted them time and time again. I've crapped on them time and time again. I've shit on them time and time again. But this time I am turning around. Am I putting all my money on the Raiders making a deep postseason run right now today? No, still a small sample size. I still want to see how they do. Looking at their upcoming schedule. Excuse that. I think they can start 3-0. I'm not worried about Miami. You got to figure Raiders are going into this game pissed. Remember last time they played the Dolphins? I don't want to say they got ripped off or gypped, but a lot of luck went Miami's way for the Raiders to lose that football game. So they're going in this one at home with possibly no Tua Tagovailoa. I think the Raiders will spank them. They'll be up 3-0 as far as the record goes. And then LA. This is a game, this determines, it's early, but this is a 50-50 game that each team needs. Do you want to be a playoff team or not? The Chargers play the Chiefs in week 3. They might come out of that game 1-2. They can't fall to the Raiders at 1-3 and, have high hopes at making a playoff run. It's still early, anything could turn around, but still, this is a big game week 4 for both sides. If the Raiders slip up and and lose to Miami, and now they're at 2-1. They don't want to fall 500 to the Chargers. But if the Raiders can pull off Miami, which I think they will, and beat the Chargers, this is what you need to win the division. Every single 50-50 game has to go your way if you want to try and win that division and take down the Chiefs. Am I betting on them to do that? No. But if you get a 4-0 start, and the Chiefs are probably going to be 3-1, but every game counts. And I think if they could pull out these 50-50 games, I think they could beat the Bears. I think they could bring the Broncos, Eagles. They got a decent run of, I don't want to say cupcake games. But up until their bye, it's not like they play the Chiefs twice. The biggest game, I think, were the first 2 games. And the Chargers in week 4 and the Dolphins in week 3, those are 2 possible playoff teams, but with Tua being hurt and the Chargers coming off a loss against the Chiefs possibly being 1-2 in that game, the Raiders got some hope. I still think the Chargers are going to give them a run at it. I think that'll be a game of the week possibly. When is it? It is. That's in whatever time. So that's a Monday night game. That's going to be a great game. That's going to determine a lot for this division for both of those teams. And I think the Raiders can possibly handle them. I think that'll be a great division matchup. I think they still need to just worry about Miami first. That's what all players say. That's what all coaches say. Worry about next week. What's going to happen the following. You're not worried about the Chargers or the Broncos or the Chiefs or whoever we play when. Worried about who we play now. And I think the Raiders have a good shot at making a postseason run. Maybe not a Super Bowl run, but based on this pace, what are they exactly missing? They've proven it. Special teams, is doing okay as far as kicking. He came up big several times. Overall, John Gruden, he's shown he wants to keep his job, and I think he is definitely executing at that. As far as where I think they will finish, it's really hard to determine for me because I don't think they'll keep up this fantastic pace up. I don't think Derek Carr will throw 375-plus yards forever. So I think they'll take a minor step back in a sense of offensive powerhouse, but also when Josh Jacobs steps up, he'll hopefully have some of those yards that Carr no longer has. So I still think they're going to be efficient, they're going to be effective, they're going to be a firepower team. But where that takes them, I'm not sure. At this pace, I would say yes, a playoff team. At this place, I would say yes, a contender. They are not faking this. But the Raiders do have their shambles up, falling apart later in the season. We'll see if that holds up or if history repeats itself. I'm not sure. If history repeats itself, then obviously we all know they're not going to make it. But if they can change things around, if they can show this is our time, watch out for the Raiders, especially with a couple teams possibly not making it like we thought. Maybe the Dolphins, I think a lot of people thought they could maybe be in a playoff run. If Tua's out, it's not like he was this X-Factor QB, but Jacoby Brissett's not going to lead to the playoffs. Now Miami might be sitting out. Maybe New England won't make it. Maybe the Chargers and Raiders will both be making the playoffs, and all of a sudden Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders, and who knows, the Broncos are 2-0 too. Maybe all 4 teams can make the playoffs. I doubt either the Ravens or Browns will miss, or who knows, even the Steelers. But either way, Raiders have a much better shot than I did, and I do think they can contend this year. But you guys tell me, like I said, I asked in the beginning of the video, what is your record prediction for them at the end of the year based on what we've seen so far? As always, and of course, guys, thank you so much for watching.